moving on to Sean Kingston, a man who is definitively down bad.
He's down bad.
Yeah, and not only is he down bad, his mama down bad with him. So for anybody who has not been keeping up with Sean Kingston's legal troubles, he and his mother were found guilty on wire fraud charges, which is one of those white collar crimes that can get you bammed up for a significant period of time. This is a crazy set of developments, especially considering, the fact that he, at least at one point, had a very vibrant career in the music industry. So this says Sean Kingston and his mother facing decades in prison after wire fraud conviction. Sean Kingston and his mother are both facing decades in prison after being convicted of wire fraud. The Beautiful Girls rapper and his mom, Janice Turner, were found guilty on Friday, which was March 28th, of one charge of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and 4 counts of wire fraud each. According to CBS News, each charge carries the significant sentence of up to 20 years behind bars. Sentencing is scheduled to take place on July 11th. Kingston reacted to the verdict by writing on his Instagram stories, "Lately, they've been trying to break me on the daily," along with a face palm and broken heart emoji. Kingston and Turner were arrested in May 2024 during a raid on his Florida mansion after he was sued for allegedly failing to pay for a number of luxury items, which later unveiled the wire fraud scheme. The suit filed by Verver Entertainment LLC accused Kingston of scamming the company out of high-end electronics. In exchange for the electronics, which would have cost over $100,000, the 35-year-old allegedly promised to make promotional videos for the products with Justin Bieber, who he worked with on the hit song Eenie Meenie back in 2010. Kingston paid a $30,000 down payment for the goods and agreed to make a second payment of $47,000, while the rest would be paid for in the form of social media posts, the suit claimed. However, the rapper failed to make the second payment after the TV was installed and did not make any of the social media posts either, according to the complaint. Dennis Card, an attorney for the plaintiff, claimed that Kingston worked from a script to entice money out of people. He's got basically a script. He says that he works with Justin Bieber and that he obviously puts on a big show here. This is a rental house. He doesn't own it, and he lures people using his celebrity into having them release things without him paying for it, and then he simply never pays. He's 100% a scammer. He's on felony probation right now for trafficking in stolen property. He's got judgments against him for procuring more than $1 million in watches without paying for them. This is just an ongoing pattern for Sean. Kingston's mother, who was described as her son's operator, fixer, and accountant, also has a history of fraud. So this is quite the bad look, bro. But we talk about modern economics and scammers and the like. So that was kind of the reason why I wanted to broach this topic, just to kind of get your thoughts on what you can make of what's going on here with Sean Kingston. This is the epitome of down bad.
Yeah, I think this is more or less a testimony of people's just mentality, man, of what they prioritize. Um, there's people like him all over the world, all over the United States, where they want something for nothing. Um, even his song that blew up or whatever, that pretty much got him on the map or whatever. Um, it was I looked it up, man, and I guess y'all can't quote me on this, but I think I'm pretty firm in my stance here in the situation that he was put on. He didn't. He wasn't really. He's not really that talented. They tried to make something out of this guy. This was happening during the wave of Miami, and Miami was blowing up, and so they was looking down here for talent, and they thought they found something in this guy, and they tried to make something out of him, but he just wasn't good. And he's just been riding off of that one song, uh, the whole time. He doesn't come off as a guy that put in the hard work. So, because he had all the opportunities. So basically, what I mean by that is he could have been another flow rider. Now, flow rider, I mean, he's not making songs now, but he was put in the same type of position Sean Kingston was, but Flo Rida was actually out here working and collaborating and making stuff. And Sean Kingston just fell off. And
Yeah.
so now me hearing all his background story of him, fronting and doing this and that, trying to keep up the persona of the lifestyle, I'm not surprised. And he's not the only person that does this. But you got to pay these people back on the back end. I don't know how many people he was doing this to, just with the scamming with it. But once people get into the situation where they're down bad, and there's no immediate consequence, they feel like they can keep doing it. So he's just been doing this over the years, and I think this is just a symptom of people trying to live some kind of life, and he had the access to do this. If other people had the same access as him, they'd be doing the same damn thing. So there's all kinds of white collar crime. I know celebrities to do this. Okay, so to me, I guess he felt like he can just do it as well. But at some point, you got to pay these people back. Yeah, I mean, you got to pay him something. And for him to not even make a social media post, I mean, that's outrageous. But yeah, man, you trying to keep up with the Joneses, trying to have what everybody else got, trying to live beyond your means. It's not the way to go. No matter if you're Sean Kingston or you work at Chipotle. Yeah, man,
Yeah.
you gotta keep everything in bounds, keep everything in line, be realistic about where you're at. Don't take on endeavors that you can't back up. And this guy was biting off more than he can chew. I'm pretty sure some part of him wanted to do it, but then once he already had the whatever in his house, he was like, the hell with it. I'm gonna just sit around and not do any damn thing. So it sucks, man. But his mom was his manager basically, so he ain't had nobody to really kick him in his ass. There's a lot of enabling going. So wild story, man. It's hard to feel sorry for a guy that had all these opportunities, had all this access, and decided to do this with his life. You don't want to see nobody get bammed up. You don't want to see nobody go to jail, man. But at the same time, man, you gotta, if you got such a great responsibility, man, you gotta look after it. So it's only so bad I can feel for this dude. You don't want to see it, but hell, man, that's how I go out here. But what are your thoughts, bro, on Sean Kingston around here, man? Potentially getting locked up for decades, they say. What are your thoughts, man?
It's amazing how much people want to be paid to do nothing. You know, um, One of the things that the internet has illuminated for us since the proliferation of social media, it has illuminated us on just how much people really don't want to do shit, but still want to be able to live the kind of life they want to live. They want to do things lavishly. They want to take trips. They want to be able to possess materialistic, worldly items. They want to be able to live in large houses. They want to be able to run in highbrow social circles. They want to be able to just do these things. But ideally, they want to be able to do them without outputting any work. Um, you know, Everyone is trying to copy the social media influencer formula. Now, as with every microeconomy that we know of, only a small percentage of the people who try to go into that microeconomy are going to be truly successful. The rest of it is going to be an oversaturated market of people trying to, um, take bites out the same apple. But whether it's social media influencers, whether it's gym influencers, I see it all the time. People show up in my cheap commercial gym with a tripod trying to get internet clout. Whether it's people trying to make a career out of playing video games, Twitch streamers, and things like this, setting up cameras, getting a Twitch account, building a community to try to get money and create a lifestyle for themselves and earn a living off of playing video games. I think the internet has highlighted that no matter the context, people are very quick to leap to gravitate towards ways to maintain their livelihoods without having to actually do work. People have become lazier, and they truly desire to earn a living off of doing nothing. I don't care if it's OnlyFans, Instagram modeling, or actual sex working. You can say sex work is real work if you want. I don't care what rationale you choose to use. People like to be paid to do nothing nowadays. That is one thing that the internet has shown. Now, again, very much like last week when we talked about the OnlyFans chick who's been charged because of a sex act that went wrong. One of my talking points with that topic was OnlyFans didn't create sexual deviancy, but it has contributed to creating an environment in which people's indulgence in sexual proclivities is more greatly exacerbated. The internet, social media, and these various technological vessels didn't create the advent of people wanting to be paid to do nothing, but they have exacerbated the dynamic of people wanting to be paid to do nothing. But at the very least, it has illuminated, highlighted the reality that people just don't like working for nothing. And you think that that's just working class people or poor people, brokies, as the internet likes to call them. But no, it's rich people too. People with money and resources, people who have actualized in various ways, they don't want to work either.
Yeah.
They want to put in minimal work and still be able to maintain whatever livelihood they want, despite what you might think is the contrary, given what they've done, given the fact that they have a career. You'd think that they would be comfortable with the notion of work. But no, even people in positions such as him are very comfortable with the notion of scamming off the top. Because the more you're scamming and the more you're able to scam successfully, the less actual work in the studio you have to put in.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Because I feel you, bro. Like, he was a flash in the pan when he first came out. But I feel like for the most part, he kind of just faded off into obscurity. Like outside of a guest feature here and there as a solo artist, I'm not really sure what momentum that he had. He was just kind of around, but
Right.
outside of that initial front, he wasn't really doing much
But
musically.
he still had a backing, at least to me, in my opinion. He had a backing to be a pop star. I mean, you don't do a song with Justin Bieber if you don't have that kind of, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
situation going.
yeah, I agree. And what you just said was evidenced by the fact that he could still pop out on a feature,
Yeah.
and the song would be a hit. And he was a guest. He was a guest on. He was a feature on the song. So the potential was always there, but there was never consistency outside of when he first came onto the scene. And call me crazy, but look from an outsider's perspective, I kind of feel like if I'm not seeing anything that you're doing, I'm going to conclude that you must not be really doing that much. And so, if you're not doing that much, yet you're still able to maintain a livelihood, it begs the question: how are you
What are you
able?
doing?
Are you able to maintain that livelihood? Even though I don't really see you putting out work. Where are the albums? Where are the singles? Where's the songs? Where's the music? So it doesn't matter whether it's a middle class person, a highbrow person, rich people, wealthy people, brokies, poor people, everybody in between is looking for the next come up, the next opportunity to scam off the top, the next opportunity to make money and do something without having to actually do any work. People have become so lazy and desensitized towards the notion of putting in hard work that to even suggest that a person get it off the muscle almost becomes a laughable concept to a person who has mastered the art of being able to make money off of doing nothing.
Yeah.
I have seen the goofiest things that people do and they're eating. Influencers on the internet, social media people, Snapchat people, people I've never heard of, yet can somehow afford to live in a luxury condo in downtown Miami. Off of what? Posting pics to Snapchat?
Yeah.
It's weird. It's weird, bro. I was born too late, clearly. I mean, too
No,
early. I was
nah,
born.
man, you
I, was,
born right on time, dog.
I know. I know. I'm being facetious when I say that. But yeah, this is a weird world that we're living in, and I believe that we are currently. Well, no, maybe the golden era was maybe 5 years ago or so. But I still think that we're coming down from the golden era of, um, you know, earning a living off of doing nothing, making money from doing nothing, maximizing off of a healthy income without actually contributing to society in any meaningful ways. I feel like the height of that was maybe 5 years ago, but we're still in the, you know, the blast radius for being able to do that. And so you look at a guy like him who was clearly scamming for an extended period of time. And he's a byproduct, a child of that kind of mentality, where it's like, okay, we were able to get this far. Now, how can we, you know, proliferate this and continue to do everything we want in life without actually having to do anything? And in the process, we get to lie and cheat and scam people. So, major shouts out to the people who still believe in putting in work. But yeah, we got a whole society of people in the world, man, who just want to be able to earn a living off of doing nothing. And I think that he was trying to figure out ways to do that, and there's plenty more where that came from.
Yeah, man. Scamming is like scamming, stealing. It's like the lamest stuff out there, man. I don't really get down with scammers. Um, I don't know how they live with themselves. Um, I don't know how they sleep at night knowing that what they got on their wrist is stolen. You know, what they're driving is stolen.
Yeah,
Like,
but you speak from the perspective of a person who has integrity, who has ethics, who lives with principles. And I think what you have to understand is a lot of people these days don't care about that stuff. They
I
don't.
think no, I hear you, man. And I think what goes on with those people is that I think they're haunted by it still. And so, because those people are never really in a good. I mean, I'm pretty sure if you sat down with Sean Kingston at the height of his scamming, I mean, rolly on the wrist. Uh, you sit there and you try to have a conversation with him, and you say some stuff that is, above board and with honor and integrity, and you say it because that's how you feel about life. There's something in him. I think it's in all people for the most part, unless they're a genuine sociopath. I think it's in most people where they have this thing of, man, I wish I could think like that. You know, I wish I could stand on, my business like that. Damn, I wish I could drive a car that I actually paid for. You know, and then they'll go right back to scamming or whatever. But I think there's something in people, and I think that those shadow dark things is what drives these people to keep living further and further. It's like, how do people keep going further and further down this rabbit hole when they're doing something that they knew they shouldn't? Is that I think it's like, I don't know what this is called. I'm sure there's some type of mental situation where somebody just feels like a hopelessness, or hey man, I'm already down bad. What's one more? You know, somebody that's struggling with their weight or whatever. Hey man, what's one more?
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So it's the same thing with the finesse and the stealing and the scamming. It's like, bro, I already got a whole bunch of things.
I don't know, bro. I kind of feel like you have to have a soul to. I feel like you have to have a soul to process information in that way.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who are scamming and they enjoy it, they have no soul. So I don't really think that they process it like that. They're not saying, because people who are struggling with weight and they say, what's one more Cinnabon? They feel bad when they're eating the Cinnabon and they know that they're doing wrong, but they're dealing with an addiction
Mm-hmm.
of some sort. But then there's the people who are like, you know, overweight and they don't give a damn. And they're just like, I'm not doing anything wrong by eating this Cinnabon. Who are you to judge? Don't body shame me for eating this Cinnabon. And so I kind of feel like a lot of people who are on this wave of scamming, they don't really. I'll put it to you like this. I think a lot of people who scam, they find a strange roundabout way to make themselves a victim, to explain why they're doing what they're doing. The world owes me this, and that's why I do it. So they don't feel guilt There's no guilt associated with their decision to do it because they feel like they are merely acquiring what is owed to them.
By doing nothing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's crazy,
I
man.
would imagine that some chick who does OnlyFans, who makes a lot, she can be making a lot of money or no money, but she's on OnlyFans. I would imagine that a lot of these chicks who are on OnlyFans, who do it, they feel like they're doing it because they have no options. And they feel like they're doing it because the world owes them a bag and they refuse to go and work for it. But because they feel like they still deserve it, they're going to do this. And how do they rationalize it? By coming up with some quasi philosophy to explain it. Oh, this is my body. I can do whatever I want. My agency is whatever. I don't care. I can do whatever I want. We're not living in the past anymore where I'm defined by my sexuality. All of this weird old logic that people come up with to rationalize why they do dumb shit.
I only show my feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hear what you're saying. And I do think that there's people who commit to living this way who do feel some sort of a buyer's guilt. But I think the majority of people in his position, when you're doing it to that extent, where you're on hundreds of thousands of dollars, you can't even make a social media post. How hard is that?
That's what I'm saying, bro.
That's not hard to do. Like, why does somebody have to pull teeth for you to make a couple posts and post them to your Instagram? Like,
Especially if you got this watch or whatever the hell it is, and the only thing you
yeah,
got to do is just, you know what I'm saying, and
yeah,
add them.
yeah. He's walking around. He's walking around thinking to himself like they don't deserve they don't deserve the gratification of me posting on their behalf. You should be thankful that I even let you give me your stuff.
Yeah,
Just the height of arrogance and narcissism. Like that's how I feel like narcs. That's how I feel like a lot of these scammers look at the world. They're not really processing it in terms of any sort of buyer's remorse. It's just this is what's owed to me, and the world won't give it to me. Therefore, I'm going to take it by any means necessary.
it's crazy. Yeah, and that's pretty valid, man. That's one industry, bro. Industry, if you want to call it that. That's just one area, man. Scammers, you scammers and thieves. I just can't wrap my brain around how they live their life like that. But hey, man, Sean Kingston, because this stuff's been brewing for the last couple years, man. So I guess the hammer's finally done come down on him.
Yeah.
So again, you don't want to see people live like this. And I guess his logic was he's ripping off these large corporations, not individuals.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
So he's getting his.
Yeah.
But hey,
Yeah.
man, when you dealing with them folks, they gonna want their money, man. So yeah, man, harsh lesson. But I'll just say anybody else out there, man, and you just feel this obligation, man, just due to social media, TV or whatever, man, where you constantly have this comparison lifestyle, man. I would just say that just try to rein that in as much as possible. I know I know it's difficult. You'll see something and you'll go, well, damn, I do want a McLaren. It's like, okay, well, you can't have a McLaren, but then you'll see a Tesla. Oh, I want to, if that's how life go. I get it, man. But don't injure yourself in the process of trying to have nice things and be content wherever you're at, man. Because clearly, Mr. Sean Kingston wasn't content with where he was at.
Yeah, yeah. So y'all let us know in the comments, man. Let us know what you think about this one. Is Sean Kingston being done wrong? Is he being done dirty? Did he do it to himself? Are we off? Am I off talking about scam culture? Let us know what you think, man. I just think that he is a child of scam culture, and I think largely these people have no soul.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't think they have a soul. I don't think these sex workers have a soul. I don't think any of these people have a soul.
Damn.
Shouts out to Terrence McClendon and of course my man Dudley in the chat. Dudley said, "Damn you decency, you fool my man Dogon at every turn."
Hey man.
Yeah, it is mental gymnastics, man. People go through it, but yeah, I just think scammers are what they are, and what are you gonna do?
Mm-mm-mm.